Hello, hello. How are we all doing? Happy Wednesday. Um, every time I say that though, I laugh because I'm sure I start all of them that way, but it's true. Happy Wednesday. So for anybody who is new here, hi, welcome. I am Lindsey Hall. I am an intimacy and empowerment coach. And I do these weekly tea break chats every week to come and chat to you about what's going on in life, what's come up for me, general life chit chat conversation, and then I answer questions that you guys have sent me. Hi. So when I say I'm an intimacy and empowerment coach, what does that mean? Well, basically, it means that I am here to really help people deepen into intimacy with themselves and with other people, which is getting to know yourself deeper and deeper, and doing the intimacy inside work. I also really am here and passionate about helping women own their power and their pleasure and seeing pleasure as a tool for healing. And then and the reason for all of this is helping women have joyful lives that they absolutely fucking love. And that is what underlies all of it, because doing all this work is the point of it is to experience life bigger, broader, more vividly, and just absolutely love it. So that is the purpose of all of the work that I do. So with that, I will launch into life chat stuff. But as usual, this is the part that I don't plan in the slightest. And I just sit here and go, what came up this week? And as usual, the answer is a lot. Life happens in fast forward, it feels like sometimes. And just there can be so much in the space of a week. And this week was no exception to that. So what's been going on in the last week? I had another little wobble about business stuff, which I think I posted about last week. I think it might have been Friday, where I posted saying it was in the space of an hour. I cried tears of frustration over business stuff. I cried tears of happiness over a phone call from one of my best friends and happy news on her front. Cried some more, shouted about some business stuff not going the way I liked it. Then had some more, I can't remember what the other happy thing was, but it was a freaking roller coaster around here. And that is part of what, life, but particularly entrepreneurial life is about. It's so up and down sometimes. And the really cool part though is that the longer I do this work, and by this work, I mean my internal work in particular, but also this whole entrepreneurial owning my own business thing, the more I realize that when these wobbles and things come up, I know they're just wobbles. I know that they are not the truth. I know that when I'm none of it's working, it doesn't mean none of it's working. It means that my brain is a little bit frustrated right now, and I'm going to get through this. And really, that getting through it, this work helps us get through it faster and faster and with less drama every time, which is really fun because I'm not a huge fan of all the drama, especially when it's drama in me. It's my least favorite kind of drama. But really, I think this past week, the past few days actually, has really been this, shown me a lot more stuff about how I work and about what I need in my business. And what I mean by that is, let me back up a moment, shall I? So I talk sometimes on here about masculine and feminine energy, and it's not something I talk about all the time, but it's something that I work with in myself all the time. And this idea of the masculine being the structured, the safety, the security, the get shit done kind of energy. And the feminine being more of the flow, the body, the creative, the spontaneous. And in short, and those are very simplified versions, but in short, I spent most of my life especially my professional life, but even before that, leading strongly with my masculine energy. And in my accounting life, super organized, super project management is definitely one of my strengths. I got shit done. That was one of my biggest strengths. I could balance and juggle lots of stuff happening at the same time, very linear, very organized, like I said. That was big, huge for me. But then when I left that job and when I started doing all of this coaching work and realizing that I had sacrificed my feminine energy. Like I was completely disconnected from my body, completely disconnected from my intuition. I spent a long time saying, I don't have a single creative bone in my body. I'm an accountant through and through. Creativity is not my thing. And these were like really strongly rooted in me. So when I started doing all this coaching work, a huge part, and this happened over a long time, really came back into my feminine energy and really learned to connect with my body, to listen to my intuition, to go with the flow, and really, like, these have been very, very important things for me. However, so then when I left my corporate job, I swung my pendulum, swung too far. So whereas I'd been like way on the masculine side for a long time, and it's a very common experience for women who get into this type of work. So I've talked to lots of people who've experienced the same thing. I swung really hard the other way. I was like, forget all of the masculine crap that came in my corporate world. Forget all of the structure, all of it. Like, I want to be in my feminine. I want to just go with the flow and be creative and spontaneous and like really embrace my feminine, which is great. But the pendulum swung too far. And what I have been slowly working on is getting a more balanced, a back and forth, a dance between the two that's like this, instead of being one or the other, because really this dance between the two is really crucial. And I have had several experiences that have really shown me how this support of the masculine structure, while also embracing the feminine flow and creativity, that is the sweet spot. And when I can get that right, amazing things happen. And so this kind of, the first example of this was like the whole month of March, basically, where that was the first time that I had been able to sit down at the start of the month and plan out a structure for my social media for the entire month. Up until then, I had tried many times over the months to come up with a structure, and my brain was just like, nope, don't do it, don't do the structure. And finally, I had done enough healing work and enough getting that dance right that in March, I came up with a structure for the whole month, and that like, this is what I was going to post and when, and it felt so soothing and safe for my being. I was like, I've got the structure here. It also triggered some masculine wounding stuff of like, but is it good enough? And like, what if I've missed something, and is it perfect? And I had to really work on healing some of those perfectionist wounds around that structure, but is it going to be enough? So I worked through all of that at the time. And then what I discovered over the course of March was then once I had that structure in place, that gave my feminine creativity, my feminine flow, the space and the safety to play. Then I was like, ooh, I knew what I had to do every day. And then I could go, but now I want to do this, and I could do that on top of it. And I could do this, and I want to do it on top of it. And that's where the blowjob class came from, was I knew that I already had this plan in place. Hey, Anna. I knew I already had this plan in place. And so because I had that safety, then I was like, oh, I have this fun idea for a blowjob class. I'm going to go with that. And then after that, then I was like, oh, and now I want to do dirty talk, and I could go with that. And I could go and flow. And so I didn't actually stick with my structure exactly as planned, but knowing that I had that structure there is what allowed the creativity, the space to flow with that. So that was a really exciting way for me to see how the safety and structure supports my feminine creativity and flow. And then in these past few weeks, I sort of I've been trying to do that, but actually my pendulum swung again, and I was resisting some of the structure again, even though I could see so clearly how it supported me. Then just a few days ago, it's really sprung up again in that after our Dirty Talk call on Sunday, which was the last call of this round of Dirty Talk, and there was me and one other woman on the call this time, the rest were watching the replay, and we just had this beautiful, deep, in-depth conversation that started off about sex stuff, like we talk about in Dirty Talk. So it started off talking about Dirty Talk, and we went into various pieces of to do with that. And then the conversation flowed into this much bigger, broader topic, talking about really rooting into our feminine knowledge, our feminine wisdom, the power of the collective of all the women who have come before us, tapping into that power, rediscovering all of us. And just this big, beautiful conversation that lit me up inside. My energy, my knowledge, my intuition. I was like fully tapped into this beautiful power of not just me, but like all of the women. And I was, like I said, like I was lit up. Like I could feel my body like vibrating and turned on by this big, exciting, beautiful conversation. And that was all like the feminine energy in me was loving that. And I was getting all of these ideas coming through of like, right, what do I want to do next? And where do I want to go with this? And like having these conversations is what I meant to do. And I want to do this, that. And my brain was just going crazy with all of the excitement and creativity as a result of being that turned on and lit up. And then the next day, my masculine was like, yes, I know exactly what to do with all of this. Thank you for giving me direction. Thank you for telling me what your desires are, for telling me like what you want to do. Now that I know what you want to do, I can spring into action and get the shit done. And then suddenly all this stuff like I'd been sort of playing with in my brain for a few weeks, but hadn't quite been able to like take the action on. Suddenly this week it has come flowing out. So I have been like, I sat at my computer for Monday was like 8:30 till 6, which I have not done that since I left my corporate job. Yesterday was similar. I think it was maybe like 9 till 5. Again, not my norm, but I have just, and then I've also like stopped and had dinner, give myself a rest, and then done some more later. Because I am so lit up. And so like I said, my masculine's been like, oh, you gave me a to-do list and I cannot wait to support you in this. So I've been doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes, which will come out soon, but there's been like I've been updating my website copy. I've been getting email list ready. I've been creating a YouTube channel, like all kinds of stuff that I've just been like getting all of this really great structure in place, all because my feminine was, so in my example previously, it was like my masculine put in place the structure and then my feminine got to like go and be creative and express herself. In this case, the feminine got like had all these beautiful ideas and the masculine went, great, let me support you. So do you see how there's these two energies in us all the time? And men and women have both of these. And but it's not that one is better than the other, or in my case, like trying to like ignore that masculine that had been there for so strong for most of my life. That did not serve me well either, because then I was like, let me just live in this fairyland and like la-di-da-di-da, and feel all these beautiful desires but do nothing about them. Whereas equally, if you don't feel any of those desires and you're like, let me just get shit done, like that can be very, it like dries you up inside. But getting this beautiful dance between the two, it's beautiful and juicy and loving, and just, it's been freaking amazing this week. And so for me, that's been a huge, well, not lesson, because I already knew the lesson, but example of how this gets to, like, uncovering and embracing all parts of us gets to lead to this beautiful, beautiful creation of work. It's never about just being one aspect. Like, we are complex beings. We are, all of us. We are complex. We have lots of needs and lots of desires and lots of stuff going on. And anytime that we try and shut out or like shut down any part of us, it doesn't feel good. There's parts that feel icky and not aligned and like will come up in lots of different ways. Whereas the more that we can embrace all parts of us and embrace our gifts and embrace like all sides of us, that is when we come together in this beautiful harmony and get to like live our fullest selves. So this week has been, like I said, just cruising through, and I'm really excited to introduce you to some of this stuff. The other thing as well, similar kind of topic, but is I've also been struggling with a block on the divorcee. So you guys know I've been like teasing for a few weeks now about the divorcee is changing soon. And I don't normally tease for this long. Like usually I'll tell you guys something is up and then it's fairly quickly when I'll put it out there publicly. And I do that not necessarily because I'm trying to tease you, but because it forces me to get the stuff done. Once I told you I'm doing it, then I'm like, right, I got to do it now. But I told you weeks ago about the divorcee changing, and it's just been stuck. And rather than forcing myself through it anyway, and like, I could have just like tapped out some sentences and got it up and done the thing. And that would be fine too, but I've been trying to figure out like what is feeling so stuck here. And today finally, so I did a bunch more journaling on it, like why is it stuck, and talked to my best friend about it because we were working together today. And I finally felt this big unblocking. And I think, and what enabled that was, instead of trying to go with why am I feeling blocked on this, I went with, what do I love about the divorcee? Why do I want to offer it? Why do I feel so strongly about offering this? Because although I was stuck on it, I was like, but what if, like, so what happens if I don't put this out there right now? What if I don't do the updated version? And I was like, oh, I don't like that either. So I journaled on, why do I feel so strong about offering this? And it came pouring out of me, you guys. Like, I feel so strongly about the divorcee, and there is so much I want to share and give to you guys. And then after that, I just boshed out most of the website content. I have more I need to finish up, but it's like stuff around the edge I need to finish now, as opposed to like, I just couldn't get anything out before. And so again here, like a huge piece of this lesson is connecting back into your why. So when you are feeling stuck on things, and for me, certainly this is the way it works, is rather than like just pushing through and doing it anyway, connect back into your why, figure out what it is that lights you up, and then it all flows from there. You know, so it's the same with like my Dirty Talk call on Sunday. It lit me the fuck up. And then all of this work has come pouring out this week. Today, I was connecting back into the divorcee and why I feel so strongly about this. And that is what, like, that lit me up. And then it all came pouring out again. So rather than trying to force ourselves through and do the stuff for the sake of doing it, when we get stuck, going back to that, like, what is the bigger picture here? Why am I doing this? And like really connecting into what it is that lights us up. It was the same thing, come to think of it, it's the same thing on Friday when I said I was having that roller coaster of a day. And I was like, nothing's working. Going back into, but what is working? And what do I love about where I am right now? What do I absolutely love about the position I'm in? And getting lit up about that is what shifts it. So huge lesson here in terms of like really that connecting into ourselves, connecting into what lights us up. For me, movement helps a lot too. I know you guys, you see my dance parties on my stories, and yes, they are definitely fun, but they are so much more important than that too. Like moving and tapping into my energy, it gets my juices flowing. And that is what lets all this great stuff come out. So, I feel like I just talked a lot. I'm not even sure what I said. It was just all flowing because that is the kind of week I am having. Is just all flowing out now. And I am so excited to like all of this though, although it's all flowing, it still just takes longer. Everything takes longer than I think it's going to. So the YouTube channel I want to get, like it's almost there. In fact, that probably pretty much is ready. But it took me forever. And then the website content, I'm like, I just have a few changes. Nope, I have a whole bunch to rewrite. It takes a long time. So stuff is flowing really quickly, but also it still takes a long time. So I'm hoping I can get through everything I want to get through this week. And yeah, some of it you will see right away. Some is a bit more behind the scenes, but like big stuff. And all of this is structure for my business going forward, which then lets me have that safety and that security to play and have fun and create new things. So it's all really cool, you guys. Really cool. Entrepreneurship is quite the journey. Not one that I thought I would probably ever take. That's a story for another time. But I am freaking loving it. Loving it. So there you go. That's a lot on that. Woo! Okay. Question then that I had this week, So the question is, what are your 3 priorities right now as you are juggling life, new career, all these things? Like, what are your 3 priorities? What a question. So my first priority is me. Always is these days. Didn't used to be. Me used to be quite far down the list, in fact. But now me firmly at the top of my list of priorities. Always. And yes, that does mean before my kids. Sometimes my kids' actual physical needs do need to come before my physical needs. So there is some flexibility in this. But overall, I now know that the more filled up I am, the more resourced, the more I take care of myself, the more I can take care of everybody around me. So listening to my needs, giving myself what I need, and really pouring into me first is pretty much always my number 1. Second is my kids. So they are right up there close to me. Like I said, sometimes their needs do overtake mine. And that shows up in, like, for example, the Easter holidays when they were home all week. And I do, like, short term, I put their needs before mine. So over the course of the week, my battery drained. And I think I mentioned that last week, where I do put them first in that kind of short term category. And so because I don't have time when they're home all week and I'm a single mom, I don't get a lot of time to replenish my own battery in that time. If it's longer term, then I will absolutely, I will get babysitters and I will find other ways to make sure that I top myself up. But when it's a week, I tend to power through. And I can do that and I will always find enough energy for them. But I do very much feel the impact of it. I very much feel what it's like now to have my battery drain over the course of the week. And I don't love it. And I feel like I get, certainly my patience drains as well. Like, that's where I was saying, like, if I pour into me first, everybody benefits, because I was still a great mom, absolutely, the entire time. But as the week went on, like, I had less patience with them. I had less energy. People were snappier. It wasn't as great of an experience for anybody until I had a chance to replenish my own battery. So to answer the first two priorities, me, my kids, in that order, in the long term, in the short term, sometimes that flip-flops and I put them first. But I know that is not sustainable for me, and I can see that clearly. Like, if that shows up in the course of a week, even imagine how much more that shows up in a longer, drawn-out way. I need to put my needs high on that list to replenish so that I can be the best mom for them, so that I can make them also a priority. Then you asked me, the question was top 3 priorities. So although those two are very, very clear, the third one's trickier. I was going to say, the first thing that came to my head was my business. Then I thought, but my friends. Then I thought, actually, my friends are there, like, in a way of filling me up. My friends, and being there for my friends does help top up my tank. So I think, actually, in a convoluted way of getting there, I think my answer is going to be my business is number 3. So I think, you know what, actually, what's coming up as I'm saying that is the people pleaser in me is going, don't say that out loud. Your friends are going to be mad. If your friends are watching this and they think that they're not, that their business comes before them, they're going to be mad at you. Real-time processing happening here, guys. But it doesn't mean I don't love them. It doesn't mean that in the slightest. But my business is really high priority on my list right now. And that is very true. I have so much that I want to do, so much I want to say, so much I want to communicate, so many people I want to talk to, like, getting this business, like, up and running and off the ground and turning into the beautiful thing, like tending for it and caring for it and watering it and making sure it gets enough sunshine and pulling out the weeds and, all the stuff that comes, like, it's really, really important to me right now. And so, yeah, I think, and for me, yeah, that's the order of the game right now. And that is why, I've talked before about my love life and how I'm not actively dating right now. That has definitely moved down the priority list because other things have moved up. So my priorities do shift and change, as everybody's do. But me first, my kids second, definitely those are the top 2 solid. Sometimes dating moves higher up on the list. Sometimes my friends move higher up on the list. Sometimes I'm not saying my family, as in beyond my kids, because my family lives 4,000 miles away. And so to me, so I am there for them and they are there for me, but in a virtual way as opposed to an in-person way. Because they live really far away. I don't know if you guys always know that, but I'm here in England all on my own, and other than the 2 family members who I gave birth to, there's no other family anywhere near me. So yeah, me, my kids, my business is my current order of play. And that does not mean, like I said, that there aren't lots of other things that are important to me, but when I'm choosing where to put my energy and where to put my time, that is the order that I am filling things up in right now. And that feels really good. That feels aligned with where I want to be. That feels aligned with how I spend my time, my energy. All of those things light me up a lot. So yeah, I hope that answers it. Speaking of children, though, I do need to go get them from school because I don't want to leave them hanging out on the playground on their own. That would be bad parenting to forget your kids. It happens to all of us. It doesn't make you a bad person by any means, but I'm going to try and get there in time. So I will wrap this up and tell you about the ways that to wrap up, I'm going to say that if any of this brings anything up for you and you're like, ooh, you can drop a message in the comments. So, comment and we can keep conversation going in there. Send me a message. If you're like, that was a thing and you want to talk about coaching with me, we can dive into it deeper. Let me know. We can talk about that. I am in terms of like ways to work with me right now on my website. There's classes, so you can still get the blowjob class. Dirty Talk Round 2 starts on June 4th, which is just over a month away. There's always one-to-one coaching with me. The divorcee change will actually truly be coming soon now that I have gotten over my block and I have written most of it. So hopefully by the end of this week, I can get the rest of that like what I've written up actually onto the website and available for you. So new changes genuinely coming soon. There's all sorts. Those are probably the ways to work with me. Also, I want to say that I had a message from somebody earlier this week, end of last week, recently, saying that she wanted to work with me. And she's like, there's so many options right now. I don't even know like how I can work with you. So if that's how you're feeling and you're like, blah, always send me a message. And actually in her case, it was, here are the options, and actually none of them quite feel like a right fit. So we're actually talking about making a personal package just for her. And that is also a possibility because at this point in my business, I have lots of flexibility and it's fun. It's super fun. So if you're like, I want to work with you and none of these options are the right way, I trust you to reach out to me and tell me that, and we can try and come up with something that works. Okay. So always an option too. Anything else that I need to say? I don't think so. I think that's probably it for now. So I'll go get my kids. I will talk to you guys later. I will be back here next week for a tea break chat next week. And until then, I love you lots. Mwah!